Good evening, everyone. If you don't know, you should know. My name is Rameez and I am a filmmaker and a film critic, and today's film is HBO's TV movie, All the Way.
We're making history here. And you have to decide how you want history to remember you.
All the Way is a film about LBJ. No, not LeBron James, Lyndon B Johnson. And the man who plays Lyndon B Johnson is Bryan Cranston. Little background for you if you don't know who Lyndon B Johnson is. He is the man who was sworn in as president right after JFK got assassinated. This film focuses on the civil rights movement that he was trying to pass, and then it also follows his struggles into becoming the president of the United States as well. This film is directed by Jay Roach, the same Jay Roach who recently directed Bryan Cranston in the film Trumbo. The same Jay Roach who directed the Austin Powers movies, which is so absurd to me that this guy directed two insanely funny movies and now he is morphed into making political films. He also directed the HBO movie called Game Change. He clearly has a grasp on handling two different genres, and he can also blend the genre of comedy and politics in one, as seen in The Campaign in 2012. That was a pretty funny movie. This film studies the character of a man put in the no-win situation. It shows Lyndon B Johnson, who doesn't fully accept his presidency, and rightfully so. He didn't win an election when he swore the oath. And speaking of Lyndon B Johnson, let's talk about Bryan Cranston. Now, this is interesting to me to break it down. I don't know if this is a good or accurate performance of the Lyndon B Johnson president. I do know the character he's playing. He's playing a character filled with regret, doubt, and all that stuff. Bryan Cranston, for the most part, is fantastic when he's exhibiting pain and his nervousness of becoming president. The first scene when he's on the plane is fantastic. Bryan Cranston's great as that character. I don't think I can say that he's good or bad as playing Lyndon B Johnson, because honestly, I don't know that much about Lyndon B Johnson. So that's probably my fault. However, the performance is very entertaining, regardless if he's a good or bad Lyndon B Johnson. The character's performance is really good. The way he walks in the beginning, hunched and slumped, to how he learns to fully accept his position. It's really little stuff, but it all adds up, and all his interactions with his wife, played by Melissa Leo, are excellent. The only negative I have with Bryan Cranston's performance in this film is his legacy. He will forever be known for playing Walter White or Heisenberg in this film. And there are scenes, one or two or even three scenes in this film where he becomes Heisenberg. He goes into Heisenberg mode as he drops his voice a couple of octaves and he starts talking like this. That took me out just a little bit from the film, but overall a fantastic performance. The plot, however, focuses on him passing the Civil Rights Act, and the supporting cast shines, especially a miscast Anthony Mackie as Martin Luther King Jr. God, who was doing that? Anthony Mackie does make it work, however. He's good enough to pass off as Martin Luther King. It's just really hard for me to look at any performance of Martin Luther King after I saw Selma with David Oyelowo. That was incredible. Frank Langella plays a racist senator, and Stephen Root plays J. Edgar Hoover. The film is conversation upon conversation featuring Lyndon B Johnson playing both sides to benefit his own side. It shows his struggle to pass the bill without removing massive chunks of it, such as voting rights not being a part of it. The issue with the plot of the film and the script is really an issue of choice. Lyndon B Johnson's main goal, his purpose, was to become president of the United States, right? However, that subplot of the civil rights movement is far superior and much more engaging than his main goal of becoming the president. Yes, people bickering over a bunch of signatures had some tension in this film. The latter half of the film focuses around what happens in Mississippi when some cops beat up 3 black people, and again it turns into an allegory of police brutality, and there's nothing wrong with that. Police brutality is friggin' terrible, and it should be showed more often in films. However, I have seen much better films and a great TV series recently that had that subtext of police brutality and the effects of it in a more powerful and more engaging way. The cinematography is friggin' great. The keyword I'm going to use here is cinema. It looks cinematic. And this is a TV movie. I know HBO's not TV, but HBO films don't get theatrical releases. This film looks really friggin' cool. There's the beginning of the film, which Lyndon B Johnson wakes up on the plane, and it looks really cool. It looks like the cinematographer was an artsy-fartsy film school student. And then there are other great shots of Bryan Cranston walking in slow motion in a pool full of people, center framed, really selling the idea that this man is not supposed to be here. And then the writing accompanies those images beautifully. We hear narration of Lyndon B Johnson over those scenes, which bring us into his head and his mindset rather perfectly. Those sequences, the sequences which feature Bryan Cranston walking center framed in the pool of people, are perfect scenes in my opinion. Everything about them is great. The acting, Bryan Cranston's voiceover delivery, the friggin' cinematography, it's all perfect. It's just funny to me that a TV movie looks far superior to Jay Roach's last film, which had cinematic release, theatrical release, Trumbo. This is a fine film. It educated me quite a bit on Lyndon B Johnson. However, after the hour mark, it kind of falls into a slump. However, it's still worth your time. I'm giving this film a final score of 3.5 out of 5. As usual, people, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that free subscribe button. It'll cost you nothing, man. And until next time, I will be seeing you again. Remember to love yourselves.